15 years ago, I divorced my husband after discovering his affair with a colleague, our company's legal counsel, with whom he even had a child. The affair partner harassed me relentlessly, spreading false allegations about a medical error until I had no choice but to quit my position as a radiologist. At my lowest point, when darkness seemed to envelop every corner of my life, my current husband appeared like a beacon of hope, and together we built a happy, peaceful home filled with warmth and understanding. However, my tranquility was painfully short-lived. Recently, at a major medical technology conference, I encountered my ex-husband for the first time in 15 years, my stomach instantly nodding at the sight of him. "You must still be single, right? Who trusted disgraced medical technician like you with patient care?" I replied, "You still can't say anything decent, can you?" Then, he turned back to me, "My son is brilliant, just like his mother." Looking down at me with that infuriatingly smug smile, my ex-husband boasted about his child as if weaponizing his very existence. I took a deep breath and replied, "Oh really? What an accomplished young man. Speaking of which, let me introduce you to my children and their groundbreaking medical app that's helping thousands." My revelation left my ex-husband stunned and visibly trembling, the color draining from his face. I'm Vanessa Mitchell, 38 years old, a medical technologist specializing in radiological imaging. I'm living with my 13-year-old son Jackson, my 11-year-old daughter Sophia, and my husband Gabriel, who matches my age and my passion for improving healthcare. Jackson, in his first year of middle school, is navigating the turbulent waters of his rebellious phase while simultaneously coding medical applications that leave seasoned programmers astounded. Lately, he's been quite cheeky and challenging to handle, but when he truly crosses a line, my husband Gabriel steps in with quiet authority and sets him straight, never raising his voice but commanding absolute respect. Sophia, on the other hand, is completely immersed in digital art and design, her tablets and styluses constantly creating beautiful healthcare-themed illustrations. As the youngest and only daughter, she's remarkably skilled at melting hearts and getting her way with just a tilt of her head. Jackson, who absolutely adores his younger sister Sophia, quickly panics when she playfully threatens, "If you're not nice to Mom, I'll stop letting you use my artwork in your apps, big brother." He hurriedly apologizes, his fingers nervously tapping on his laptop keys. Sorry. "Look, I'll be nice to Mom, okay?" He's a straightforward and brilliantly transparent child, always the one to liven up our home with unexpected technological surprises and genuine warmth. I lead a bustling yet deeply fulfilling life balancing medical technology and family, but there's a significant detail many colleagues are unaware of. I'm a divorcee now thriving in my second marriage. I ended up divorcing due to my ex-husband's professional betrayal and personal deception 15 years ago, a wound that healed but left its mark on my approach to both medicine and trust. My ex-husband, Trevor Blackwood, was initially my supervisor at the medical center where we both worked. My pulse would quicken whenever he entered our department, his confident stride and brilliant mind captivating everyone around him. We had many colleagues in common and received enthusiastic congratulations from the entire medical staff when we announced our engagement, so everything seemed perfect and full of promise. Early in our marriage, we frequently discussed our desire for children, saying, "I want to start a family soon," and "Imagine taking our kids to the hospital charity events in matching outfits." Both of us were eagerly anticipating becoming parents while balancing our demanding medical careers. However, reality proved far more complicated, and even after a year of marriage, we remained childless despite our hopes. Every month, my negative pregnancy test created a growing tension between us that I could feel crackling in the air. Neither Trevor nor I considered this healthy for our relationship, so we had numerous conversations and even invested in expensive fertility specialists to determine the cause of our difficulty conceiving. However, being told there were no medical issues detected, we made no headway in improving our increasingly strained marriage. Initially, Trevor was supportive and understanding, helping me track ovulation cycles and attending appointments. However, as months passed without a pregnancy, his frustration became palpable, and his behavior toward me underwent a disturbing transformation that chilled me to the bone. "When will I ever become a father?" he demanded loudly one night, hurling the words at me like accusations. His cutting remarks strongly implied that he viewed me as the sole obstacle to his paternal aspirations. He abruptly ceased participating in our shared responsibilities, abandoning me to handle everything: medical research compilation, household management, and all domestic duties. When I confronted him, asking, "Why have you suddenly stopped helping with everything around the house? You used to be so considerate," he coldly replied, "Because your career is clearly preventing us from having children." If you can't fulfill your biological purpose as a woman, you should at least manage the household properly, or what's the point of our marriage? Following this confrontation, Trevor's verbal attacks grew increasingly venomous, each word designed to wound deeper than the last. My colleague and his wife are expecting their second child already. Isn't that wonderful? They're working on building a family while we can't even start one. Trevor glared at me with cold, contemptuous eyes that made me physically recoil, his professional smile nowhere to be seen. If you weren't so obsessed with your career and had a properly functioning reproductive system, I would have been celebrating Father's Day long ago. How can you claim I'm dysfunctional when all the tests show no medical cause for our situation? I argued, my voice trembling with both anger and hurt. But Trevor dismissively responded, medical research shows it's usually the female partner's stress levels or hidden issues causing infertility problems. Didn't you read the literature? If I'd known you'd prioritize your medical career over having children, I would never have married you. You should feel some responsibility for this situation. His cruel assessment stabbed through my professional confidence and personal worth simultaneously. I also began receiving increasingly pointed messages from his parents, particularly his mother, a renowned surgeon who would call saying, "We're so looking forward to a grandchild to continue the Blackwood medical legacy." Initially, I tried to diffuse the situation by explaining, conception often takes time, and we're both focused on our careers right now. However, this reasonable approach only intensified their disapproval. My mother-in-law's communications became openly hostile, attacking both my personal and professional worth. You're clearly inadequate if you can't conceive. Every woman in our family managed medical careers and children without issue. You must be fundamentally deficient. This relentless combination of workplace pressure and familial criticism crushed my spirit a little more each day. One evening, my closest friend Celeste Williams invited me for dinner after we hadn't seen each other for months. Trevor had been claiming extensive overtime developing a new pharmaceutical protocol, so he was rarely home during evenings or weekends. That's when Celeste revealed information that would shatter my world completely. I've been trying to connect with you for weeks, Vanessa. There's something important you need to know, Celeste said, her eyes reflecting genuine concern. I've missed you too. What's happening? I asked, feeling a sudden chill despite the restaurant's warmth. Vanessa, do you remember Adrienne Palmer? She's the legal counsel who joined the medical center last year. Trevor apparently knew her from before. They attended the same university and now she handles most of his department's legal matters. Adrienne, a partner at a prestigious law firm, secured the hospital's contract through her exceptional reputation and connections in medical law. We had minimal contact during the few hospital functions we both attended, and professionally our paths rarely crossed since she worked primarily with administration. Once, Trevor had casually introduced me to Adrienne, mentioning, "She's handling our department's clinical trial approvals, so I'll be working closely with her." But Adrienne had examined me with calculating eyes that seemed to evaluate and dismiss me in the same moment. Sensing her coolly competitive nature, I had maintained professional distance whenever possible. Adrienne, elegantly sophisticated and intellectually intimidating, had graduated top of her class from a prestigious law school and quickly made partner at her firm. Being both a brilliant legal mind and strikingly attractive made her something of a celebrity in medical legal circles. Adrienne Palmer? Trevor's legal counsel? Yes, I remember her. She's impressively competent. We see each other at hospital functions occasionally but rarely interact. What about her? This is difficult to say, but I believe Trevor and Adrienne are involved in something beyond a professional relationship, Celeste said, her voice dropping. What? The word barely escaped my suddenly dry throat. I felt the floor tilting beneath me at Celeste's unexpected revelation. I accessed some research data logs for a joint project and found messages between them. They weren't just discussing legal matters, Vanessa. That can't be possible. I whispered, but even as I denied it, pieces started falling into place in my mind. I think you should investigate further. I'm here whenever you need to talk, okay? Celeste squeezed my hand supportively. Thank you for having the courage to tell me, I managed to reply, my mind already racing. Trevor was cheating. I had sensed it in my gut. His behavior towards me had become increasingly distant, always arriving home late, insisting he had critical pharmaceutical trials to monitor. He vanished every weekend, claiming he needed to attend medical conferences that somehow never appeared on the hospital calendar. I harbored growing suspicions but pushed them down, focusing instead on our patients and my career. That evening, after saying goodbye to Celeste, I drove straight to a digital forensics specialist who had experience with medical privacy cases. My purpose was clear: to gather concrete evidence of my husband's professional and personal betrayal. Within 6 days, they had compiled a devastating digital trail of inappropriate communications, falsified medical records, and evidence of their affair. But emotionally, I wasn't prepared to immediately file for divorce. Despite his cruelty, he was the man I had committed my life and career to with such hope and conviction. I needed time to process this betrayal of both our marriage and medical ethics. A few nights later, I returned home to find Trevor, who typically worked late, sitting at our dining table reviewing documents. "You're home?" I asked, my heart pounding. "Yeah, I thought you'd be working the late shift again today," I added with deliberate sarcasm, watching his reaction carefully. "Yeah, about that. I need to discuss something important with you," he replied, not meeting my eyes. Having been warned by Celeste about the affair and now possessing digital evidence, I steeled myself for what was coming. "I want a divorce." "What?" The word escaped me involuntarily, though I'd anticipated this very scenario. So it was really happening exactly as I had feared. I realized with sickening clarity that this wasn't just a physical affair with Adrian, he had emotionally committed to her completely. Adrian is pregnant. I'm going to marry her once our divorce is finalized. Adrian? Your legal counsel? You claimed she was just handling your department's cases, and now she's pregnant? You've been having an affair while accusing me of prioritizing my career. Don't call it an affair, he laughed coldly. That makes it sound so tawdry. It was inevitable. Adrian can balance her prestigious career and still get pregnant. She's brilliant, connected, and I have no rational reason to remain with you. Trevor's clinical detachment and lack of remorse left me feeling physically ill. He showed no recognition that he violated our marriage and professional ethics. I stood frozen, medical terminology failing me completely. Noting my silence, Trevor smirked and added, "My mom's been pushing me to end things with you for months. She says Adrian is more accomplished, supportive of my career, and fertile. She's always preferred Adrian's family connections. This will finally satisfy her expectations." I had always known his family valued status over substance. Tears burned behind my eyes, but I refused to let them fall. Well, I've already packed my essential items. Need to get back to Adrian and our future child. We're already discussing private schools. With that callous parting shot, Trevor walked out of our home. I collapsed into a chair, medical journals scattering to the floor around me. A week later, coldly formal divorce papers arrived via courier. A handwritten note on expensive stationery was clipped to the documents: "Please expedite the divorce of my client's husband immediately." Reading those absurdly contradictory words from a supposed legal professional, I felt a surge of indignation rising within me. I desperately wanted to respond, "He was my husband until you chose to interfere both professionally and personally." That presumptuous note jolted me out of my emotional paralysis. My mind filled with questions about professional ethics and personal responsibility. Why was I being portrayed as the villain in this scenario? I refused to be silently erased from my own narrative and career. With renewed determination, I compiled the digital evidence and filed for divorce with specific claims of professional misconduct and personal infidelity. 3 days after submitting the paperwork, my phone lit up with an unknown number. Wondering if it might be the hospital, I answered to hear a woman's controlled yet furious voice demanding, "What exactly do you think you're doing? Filing formal accusations could damage important reputations. Withdraw them immediately." It was Adrian, Trevor's legal partner in both professional and personal betrayal. Well, it's completely appropriate, isn't it? I have extensive documentation of ethical violations and personal misconduct. Seeking fair compensation is my legal right, I replied, keeping my voice steady. Compensation? I'm pregnant with a medical pioneer's child. How dare you threaten our family's financial security when we're about to welcome new life? Who's truly being unethical here? You knowingly pursued a relationship with a married physician while handling his department's legal matters. You're the one whose career obsession prevented conception, you frigid failure of a woman. Her precisely articulated words felt like scalpel cuts. I'll address all relevant matters through appropriate legal channels. I suggest you do the same, I stated firmly before ending the call, my hand trembling but my resolve strengthening. During the formal proceedings, given the overwhelming digital evidence, Trevor and Adrienne's inappropriate relationship was acknowledged as both personal infidelity and professional misconduct. Trevor attempted to shift blame to my demanding medical career, but the court rejected his argument as both medically unfounded and ethically questionable given the lack of any diagnosed fertility issues after just 1 year of marriage. From Trevor, I received a settlement of $120,000 for career damages, and from Adrienne's firm, an additional $340,000 for professional defamation and interference. I wanted a clean financial break to rebuild my life and career, so I accepted the settlement and finalized the divorce with no ongoing entanglements. However, my professional challenges had only just begun. Since Trevor, Adrienne, and I all moved in connected medical legal circles, the scandal quickly permeated our professional community. According to a trusted colleague, the circulating narrative claimed I had concealed fertility issues to marry into Trevor's prominent medical family. Shockingly, many medical professionals accepted this completely unscientific explanation. That's professionally devastating, my colleague admitted. What proved even more damaging was that Adrienne's legal firm handled most of the major hospitals in our area, giving her substantial influence over administrative decisions. Medical staff predominantly sided with the charismatic and well-connected legal counsel, who portrayed herself as a victim while giving presentations with calculated vulnerability. Vanessa is a vindictive person, demanding excessive compensation when I'm preparing for motherhood. She deliberately concealed her medical issues. She would confide to hospital administrators, masterfully gathering sympathy. Initially, I tried to maintain my professionalism and continue my work, but after Adrienne joined the hospital board, department heads began excluding me from key radiological research. No matter how precisely I performed procedures or how many extra shifts I covered, I was systematically removed from advancement opportunities. Eventually, facing complete professional isolation, I was forced to resign from a specialty I had dedicated my life to building. While searching for a new position, I was approached by an innovative medical device startup. "We need someone with your technical skills and ethical standards," they told me, making my heart swell with renewed pride. In this environment, I flourished beyond anything I could have imagined, my confidence growing daily. The founder genuinely valued each team member's unique contributions. Unlike my previous workplace, this company operated on pure meritocracy with no tolerance for nepotism. I found myself increasingly drawn to this visionary leader, who turned out to be my current husband, Gabriel. Gabriel stood beside me during my darkest moments after Trevor's betrayal had left me questioning my worth. After several discussions about medical innovations, our conversations expanded to include personal hopes, and our professional respect evolved into a deep emotional connection. Our relationship deepened beautifully, and Gabriel proposed, offering a partnership in both life and work. However, still haunted by my previous marriage, I confessed my concerns about possible fertility issues. Gabriel looked into my eyes with unwavering sincerity and said, "While I'd welcome children in our future, what matters most is that I love you completely, Vanessa. Whether we have children or not, I'll stand beside you as your partner in everything." As he said this, he embraced me with gentle strength that made me feel both protected and empowered. I experienced genuine happiness that radiated from within. I knew with certainty that I wanted to build a lifetime with this remarkable man and accepted Gabriel's proposal. Just months after our wedding, we welcomed our first child, a son named Jackson, whose curious eyes seemed to take in everything. 2 years later, our family expanded when our daughter Sophia was born, her creative spirit evident even in her earliest interactions. Perhaps my difficulty conceiving with Trevor had been related to timing, compatibility, or simply the stress of that toxic relationship. Raising children while advancing medical technology presents daily challenges, but we've created a home filled with both innovation and warmth. One summer afternoon, I was attending the Medical Technology Innovation Conference to present our new imaging system. As the conference reached its networking session, I stepped away from our exhibition booth for water. That's when, for the first time in 15 years, I spotted my ex-husband, now a pharmaceutical executive. My stomach dropped. What is he doing here? My thoughts scattered, but then I recalled that pharmaceutical companies often scouted new diagnostic technologies. His presence was unfortunate but inevitable. I attempted to move through the crowd unnoticed, but he loudly called out, "Well, look who it is." He had spotted me despite my efforts. "What?" I responded, keeping my voice neutral. "What do you mean, what?" The disgraced radiologist actually showing her face at a medical conference. Haven't seen you in ages. Couldn't hack it in real medicine anymore? Ha ha ha. Trevor, clearly trying to impress colleagues, was speaking loudly with exaggerated gestures. Same old Trevor, still trying to elevate himself by diminishing others, I thought while maintaining my composure. Then my ex-husband motioned his family to join him. There stood Adrian and their teenage son. Adrian, noticing me, laughed artificially and said, "My goodness. What a surprise. Still trying to stay relevant in the medical field? That must be stressful with your history. We've accomplished so much since those days. I assume you're still unable to practice proper medicine? No research hospital would risk having you now." I was shocked by their unprofessional behavior at an industry conference. Suddenly, I noticed their son shifting uncomfortably, his eyes downcast with obvious embarrassment. He had intelligent, thoughtful features that reflected sensitivity. Oh, I nearly forgot introductions. This is our son Elijah. He's inherited his mom's analytical mind, wouldn't you agree? Adrian proudly showcased her son as though he were another professional achievement. He's top of his class, headed for pre-med next year. Sorry, it appears we're the only ones thriving here. The couple exchanged self-congratulatory glances while continuing to belittle me. However, their son's uncomfortable expression caught my attention. He seemed distressed with his parents' behavior toward a fellow medical professional. I thought, he appears to have developed a strong ethical compass despite his upbringing. But I needed to focus on my upcoming presentation. Just as I attempted to excuse myself, Trevor grabbed my arm, causing nearby attendees to stare. You destroyed my reputation with those accusations, yet you took settlement money from us. Trevor apparently still harbored resentment about legal consequences from 15 years prior. If anyone deserved to feel wronged, it was certainly me. Then Adrian turned to me with surprising hostility. Yes, you ruined your own career and demanded compensation. Why would you need financial support? Successful families with promising children require those resources more. Return double what you took from us. I was astounded by such unprofessional conduct from supposed healthcare leaders. Just then, Elijah spoke up, his voice quiet but clear. Professionally discredited would mean she's not working in the field, but she's presenting at the main exhibition hall today with her company's booth, drawing the largest crowd. Highlighted by Elijah's observation, Trevor and Adrian stared at my conference presenter badge. You're successful in medical technology? Nearby professionals turned as their composure crumbled. I felt embarrassed becoming the center of attention at a professional gathering. As I considered how to respond, two familiar figures approached. Sir and ma'am, your voices are disrupting presentations. Professional courtesy suggests maintaining appropriate volume. Mom, who are these people causing a scene? Jackson? Sophia? Yes, my children Jackson and Sophia, concerned about my delayed return, had come to find me. Sophia was always forthright, but hearing Jackson address adults so directly about etiquette was unusual. Mom, we've been waiting for you to start the demonstration. These are your children? Trevor's voice had lost its mocking tone. Yes, they are. This is my son Jackson and my daughter Sophia, both integral to our medical imaging project. Trevor looked thunderstruck seeing the children of the woman he had dismissed as career-obsessed and infertile. Adrian scrutinized my son with narrowed eyes. After several moments, they spoke in strained voices, that conference badge. They seemed fixated on my son's credentials. Yes, he came directly from his coding workshop to help with our presentation. That's the Young Innovators Special Access Badge. They're only given to featured speakers under 18. Oh, right. Jackson developed a diagnostic algorithm for our new imaging system and was invited to present his work. Indeed, my son had become recognized in medical technology circles. Impossible. That cannot be your son showcasing research. My daughter too. She designed the user interface that makes our technology accessible to medical professionals. And Jackson, your neural network approach won the Innovation Award yesterday, didn't it? Neural networks? I thought I recognized him. He was featured in medical technology today. You saw that? His work has attracted significant attention. He's been developing medical applications since he was 10. This defies logic. Trevor and Adrian stood in disbelief, their narrative visibly collapsing. I thought your career made family impossible. How could you achieve both? They demanded. You both appear professionally successful. As you can see, I've found fulfillment in both innovation and family. Perhaps we should focus on our respective presentations rather than the past. Just as I prepared to leave, my husband Gabriel approached. Everything okay? The keynote panel is about to begin. Seeing my husband, Trevor's demeanor disintegrated. Dr. Rivera? The medical device pioneer. Adrian also blanched, recognizing the implications. Is your husband actually Gabriel Rivera who founded Integrated Medical Systems? Indeed, my husband Gabriel was behind the fastest-growing medical technology company that had recently acquired Trevor's division. During my career transition, I had joined Gabriel's startup as one of the first specialists. Last year, Gabriel's innovations had revolutionized the industry, earning him international recognition. I'm Gabriel Rivera. Is there some issue delaying our presentation? My husband assessed the situation with concern. Then Jackson spoke up. These individuals were questioning Mom's professional credentials and making personal remarks about fertility. It became apparent that Jackson and Sophia had overheard the unprofessional comments. That explained Jackson's uncharacteristically direct address. You're Trevor Blackwood? From that clinical trial data controversy? Recognition dawned in my husband's eyes, his expression growing serious. I've heard about professional conduct issues, but witnessing this is disappointing. Trevor immediately shifted to damage control. No, absolutely not, Dr. Rivera. There's no way I would question your lead specialist's qualifications. Why are you suddenly deferring to her husband? I was professionally compromised by her allegations. Adrian, consider the implications. If he terminates our contract, the entire division is at risk. As they argued, their professional facade completely crumbled before the conference attendees. Then Elijah, who had been silent, suddenly spoke with clarity. Stop. I've been listening to my parents belittle this professional, questioning her expertise and demanding money after 15 years. It's mortifying. And what about these implications? Am I the product of an affair? Was my birth the result of something unethical? Hearing their son's outburst, Trevor and Adrian became visibly flustered. Elijah, this is a complex matter you don't understand. I noticed that conference attendees had formed a circle around us. Finally registering the audience, Adrian's composed expression faltered. Although I could never condone their actions, I admired their son's ethical awareness. He shouldn't bear responsibility for this situation. Before I could speak, Gabriel intervened kindly. Thank you for your integrity. Your ethical stance is exactly what the medical field needs, he acknowledged respectfully. I added warmly, your perspective on professional ethics is remarkably sound. I meant every word. Actually, I'm developing prenatal imaging technology, I explained, touching my abdomen. It's my most meaningful project. I was expecting our third child while continuing my research. I had integrated my pregnancy into our latest innovation. Turning to the young man, I said gently, your parents provided you with opportunities and supported your development. They're undoubtedly proud of the thoughtful person you're becoming, right? I glanced at Trevor and Adrian. Elijah looked at them directly, is that true? They nodded quickly, absolutely, you're our greatest achievement. Your academic excellence means everything to us. Elijah's expression softened, his distress easing. Seeing his relief, I felt lighter myself. The keynote starts in 5 minutes. We should prepare, Gabriel suggested. With that, our encounter ended as everyone returned to their professional obligations. The conference proceeded successfully, and as we packed our equipment, they approached with Elijah. Jackson and Sophia moved protectively closer, but Gabriel reassured them. We owe you an apology. It's 15 years overdue, but we regret our behavior, and thank you for your grace toward our son. It was the first genuine apology from Trevor and Adrian in 15 years. Perhaps parenthood had taught them something about values beyond success. I responded with a measured smile, professional growth is always possible, isn't it? With that, I turned toward our waiting team. Jackson stepped forward to handle our prototype equipment, securing my prenatal imaging design. Sophia organized our materials with artistic precision. Despite their youth, they balanced my professional work and pregnancy needs perfectly. Let's finalize the neural network tonight over dinner. I promise we test the new interface at home. Perfect timing. I've been wanting to see the updates. I committed myself to nurturing both the innovations and relationships that gave my life meaning, leaving professional resentments behind.